Hello there. Today we're tackling a question that I've seen over and over again since season 2 of Teen Wolf. Why don't the other werewolves go all beast mode like Peter did in season 1? Now, I've always thought the answer to this was too obvious and simple to do a whole video about it, but it keeps coming up along with a few other misconceptions about werewolves on the show, so here we are. Today, I'm looking at why it's better to be a werewolf and not a monster on Teen Wolf. I'm Paul Ray, and I do these little trips back to Beacon Hills at least once a week. If you're down for more Teen Wolf content, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so YouTube can let you know when I release new material. The first time I tried to record this video, it came out all passive-aggressive, like, okay, what's the biggest difference between werewolves that look like this and the ones that look like this? I don't mean to be a mansplaining jerk, but to me, this is all just so self-evident. Of course, this being Teen Wolf, they never actually explained it on the show, so here is some Werewolf 101. Over time, werewolves learn to completely control their physical form. They can stop their eyes from flashing in photographs. They can alter their smell, and eventually, if they're fully balanced in mind and body, they can fully shift into a wolf. Please don't butt me with "but Theo," "but Malia." I'll cover these exceptions to the full wolf shift at the very end. Back to the basics. As we saw with Scott in the early episodes, it was a constant struggle to control the shift. This is true of both made werewolves like Liam and born werewolves like Derek. The writers made it obvious again and again that staying in control and mostly human in appearance is the goal for all good werewolves, because only bad werewolves lose control of the shift. I'm looking at you, Season 1 Peter. Peter was the original monster of Teen Wolf, and since he showed up looking like 8 feet of grrr, everybody just assumed that was what alphas looked like. That's when the myth of the alpha form in Teen Wolf fandom was born. But just like Omega Eyes and the Demon Wolf, the Teen Wolf alpha form isn't really a thing. It's just not. Werewolves that look like this are completely out of control. In Peter's case, he had 6 years of rage and pain all built up, and he almost completely lost his mind. Peter was not in control of anything, and his body reflected that by twisting into a monstrous mad wolf. And this total loss of control isn't restricted to alphas. The Beast of Gévaudan is an Omega, and from the very start, he was so out of his mind and evil that his form was even less in control than Peter's was. Instead of alpha form, what you're looking at here is a psycho form, or wolf madness. Since we never saw the Beast when he wasn't crazy, Peter is actually the only good example of the difference between being in control or out of control.
All right, boys. Let's roll.
Once Peter died and came back, he was far more reasonable and in control. He was still a bad guy, but he was thinking clearly and was able to maintain a more human form. The next time he came close to losing it was in season 4 in his confrontation with Scott, when all those feelings of betrayal and madness began to come to the surface again.
For my family's power to be rightfully inherited by me.
You can see in this scene his face went a little more monstrous. We saw the same thing happen to Scott earlier in the season when he was about to lose his shit on that hunter. His face became less and less human until he reined in his emotions.
Should we show them why you needed to sacrifice 9 innocent people just to face me? Or is it 12 now?
To Deucalion was also mentally unwell when he faced off with Jennifer, but I personally think he was in complete control, and he put on this face on purpose as an intimidation tactic. Mainly, I think that because he didn't use this face again when he appeared later. Back to the monsters. This is not something to strive for. I've seen people describe this form as evolved. It's not evolved. It's the exact opposite of evolved. It's the most devolved state of primitive violence. If there are evolved werewolves, it's those rare souls who can fully shift into a real wolf. We saw this 3 times on the show. Laura was transformed in her grave, Talia could transform fully in her lifetime, and Derek reached this point just before he left. Now, with the first 2, we have no way to know exactly how they developed this ability. We're told that it's rare, but then it shows up in 2 generations of the same family, so it doesn't seem all that rare. Jeff Davis told me once that wolves who find balance between their monster and human parts can acquire this skill. Then we actually got to watch Derek go through this process to reach the wolf form. I mean, Kate's magic Mexican tomb reverted him to a kid and then turned him human somehow. That's a lot to deal with, both physically and emotionally. As a born werewolf, becoming human meant Derek completely lost his sense of self. His body was fully altered, and then he died. We're not told directly why this would lead to his full transformation.
You're dead. No. I was evolving.
But what does evolved even mean? Allow me to speculate and Dr. Phil this situation for a second. I will not do the Dr. Phil voice, but Derek had been a werewolf all of his life. Suddenly, he wasn't anymore, and he seemed remarkably okay with that fact. Unlike Peter, who raged about his power being stolen from him, Derek was chill and just made the best of being human. He was at peace when he died, and when he came back, that calm demeanor remained. My personal belief is that going through the process of becoming a werewolf in reverse gave him certain insights into what each of his abilities feels like. Basically, the absence of each supernatural enhancement left a void that he could mentally point to. He could feel each ability fully and better understand it with its loss. When they all came back, he had a full understanding of each aspect of his werewolf power and then could access and control them. Now that's my syndicated afternoon TV psychology take on the situation. So that's our full wolf thing based on the evidence presented on screen and what Jeff's told me. Now with the monster thing, they pretty much showed us how that worked with 2 big hairy examples in Peter and the Beast. Monsters are crazy werewolves. Full wolf werewolves are well-adjusted and controlled. All the others on the show fell somewhere on the spectrum. We saw Scott was about to go monster that one time, and while he was able to rein it in, I don't think his teen angst and constantly elevated stress levels will allow him to go full wolf anytime soon. Even Satomi, who became a Buddhist, was always on the edge of anger and violence due to inner turmoil. Yeah, so no full wolf form for Satomi. Again, monster werewolves are out of control. Full werewolves are in total control. For now, thank you for watching. What? Oh yeah, except for the exceptions. There always seem to be exceptions in Teen Wolf. Theo can turn into a full wolf. This is because Theo is the Wish.com version of a werewolf, so his ability to fully transform is just another gift of the Dread Doctor's science. Malia can turn full coyote. 2 things here. The first time she did it was due to a traumatic experience. It was not a case of her choosing to turn into an animal. She had no idea how she did it. She just did it and then spent 8 years as a coyote because she couldn't do it again. Once she was human again, she had no idea how to turn back into a coyote.
You want to help me? Find a way to change me back.
In fact, it took her a year and a half at least in Showtime to regain the ability she had managed effortlessly when she was a child. Also, I should mention that Theo was lying to Malia when he said he could show her how to fully shift. He was lying to everybody during that episode. Okay, so there's a lot more misconceptions I could cover here. A lot of people seem to think that a full turn is just a Hale thing that Malia inherited. Canonically, it's not. It just so happens that the Hales on the show could do it. I'm sure there's some other confusing thing I should be able to put to rest, but this video is getting long and I'm actually getting tired of hearing my own voice. I'm sure y'all will let me know if I wasn't clear on something. For now, thank you for watching, and please do all the YouTube things. Like the video, comment on the video, and if you feel like it, subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you next time we go back to Beacon Hills.